Taxis have become a staple of city life. We all know that. First, we had those yellow and black cabs in big cities. More recently, ride-hailing apps like Uber and Ola have appeared in the scene. But the latest entrant in the taxi industry is two-wheelers. You can book a bike and ride pillion from point A to point B. It works exactly like Ola or Uber, but instead of a car, you ride a bike. Now, why am I talking about this today? Because a horrible rape case has been reported in Bangalore, and the accused is a two-wheeler taxi driver. Let me tell you how the crime unfolded. The date was November 25th, Friday. A 22-year-old woman from Kerala booked a two-wheeler ride in Bangalore's electronic city. The app she used is called Rapido. It is one of the most popular two-wheeler taxi apps in India. Has some 2.5 crore downloads, if I'm not mistaken. The rider arrived on time, but he noticed that his customer was slightly tipsy. So he took her to his apartment, invited his friend over, and took turns raping her. Another female friend was in the house when this was happening, but she refused to intervene. Eventually, the survivor lost her consciousness. The next day, this young woman wakes up in a world of pain. She was threatened by this taxi driver and his friend, but she did muster up the courage to go and file a police complaint. The latest update is that both the accused have been arrested from West Bengal. Rapido has apologized for the incident. The company claims it is cooperating with police investigations. Job done, right? Well, not in this case, not at all. The crime in Bangalore raises larger questions about two-wheeler taxis in India. How safe are they? What does the law say about them? And how can we prevent such incidents in the future? Let me start with with a startling piece of information actually. Bike taxis are technically illegal in India. You see, the yellow cabs and Ubers and Olas are permitted under Indian law. But that's not the case with bike taxis. There is no provision for them under our transport laws. For example, just think about all the bikes you have seen on the roads, all of them. Do you recall seeing yellow license plates on any of them? Chances are no, because bike taxis do not have legal status in India. So question is, logical question, how are they plying on the roads? Well, because they are under interim protection from the Tamil Nadu High Court. The court has asked the government to frame laws for bike taxis, but not all states have done so, meaning the whole industry is operating on a very weak footing. Secondly, how effective are background checks and safety features in these apps? In this case, Rapido has released a statement saying customer safety is their #1 priority. But if that was indeed the case, how did this incident in Bangalore happen? Clearly, there are areas for improvement. There must be regulations, safety measures, and alert systems to protect women riders. And it must start with laws to legalize and regulate bike taxis. Because let's face it, banning them is simply not an option. Rapido, for example, claims to have more than 25 million app downloads and more than 10 million users across 100 cities. So these bike taxis are more accessible, they are cheaper, and they offer last-mile connectivity. So banning them simply is not a solution because they are filling a gap in the market. There is a demand. But without proper regulation, incidents like the one we have seen in Bangalore are always around the corner, and that is what the worry is. Let me go straight across to where this crime has happened. Neha Hebale, my colleague, is joining us from Bangalore. In fact, she has a group of women who use Rapido for their daily commute. So she's speaking to them as well. Neha, it's over to you. What has happened is something not just shocking, it is something that will make you think twice before you book a Rapido or any two-wheeler bike taxi. What are women around you saying?
Well, Absolutely. If you are a resident of Bengaluru, you would know that while the public transport system, of course, is great, the last mile connectivity still happens to be the biggest issue, and which is precisely why several women today, in fact, not just women, this isn't really a gender biased story as much, but in fact, several people today are dependent on these bike taxis. I'm going to take this question straight to someone, who's probably a user over here of the bike taxi services herself. She stayed in Bangalore for almost 25 years. Let's get a voice from her. Hi, I'd like to ask you today, we're seeing a very condemnable incident where a woman who was taking a bike taxi was gang raped by the driver and the driver's friend over here. I want to understand from you, how safe do you feel when you travel alone in Bangalore, in any of these taxis for that matter?
Okay, so basically from my end, it's been 25 years in Bangalore. So as I never felt like, there is something wrong in Bangalore, because yes, it depends on the people how they take for ladies, either it is a driver or any cab facilities provided from the companies as well. So I think, first of all, the person who is, taking care of the ladies, they should think that even she is a daughter, daughter, sister, mother, wife. So I think first of all the gents should respect women's, because it's not dependent on everything on the women's, because even they work, they do hard works, even they are single parent. So as I felt, I had never felt or met an accident like wherein I felt awkward or felt insecure, because it's been 25 years in Bangalore. But my opinion for a few female males are that they should give respect to ladies, because even ladies should knowledge of like not being very frank to any people. We should not trust anyone easily.
I want to ask you, after this incident has come to light, it was very unfortunate, it was unexpected, of course. The woman probably, had never dreamt that this would happen with her. Would you think twice now before you board a bike taxi?
No, because booking, if even in this generation, if the cab is not safe, then I don't think so that there is no way to travel. Because if the cab or the taxis are not safe, then I think the India is no use of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because if buses, as I know, buses are really very safe, but as after 10, 11 o'clock the buses will stop, then there will be option for taxi or cab, right? So then also in that case, if the cab or taxi is not safe, then I think Bangalore is in a dangerous way.
Okay, all right, thank you. You heard it there from someone who's a commuter over here, with bike taxis, with regular taxis, public transport as well, quite well versed with the city too. But having said that, of course, this really is a wake-up call, of course, one, to the police, the fact that this happened and that, incidents like this have been on the rise, and largely, of course, the fact that these incidents now need to be curbed. We'll have to wait and see if the government takes any strict measures, because Shreya, you started by mentioning that bike taxis themselves and the operation of these bike taxis itself is illegal.
Okay, Neha, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much. Going across to my guest for a quick chat. Kalpana Vishwanath is co-founder and CEO of Safety Pin. Sunita Ojha is an advocate at the Supreme Court. And Tanveer Pasha is president, Ola and Uber Drivers and Owners Association in Bangalore. And Raksha is joining us. Raksha, of course, looks at our social media here on Mirror Now. She's a regular Rapido user, which is why she's on the show. Kalpana Vishwanathan, can I come to you first and ask you this? We know that banning is not a solution in this case. Last mile connectivity is important in India, and many would say that these bike taxis are actually safer than, Olas and Ubers, are safer than cabs. So banning is not absolutely not an option here. How do you ensure that you can make that ride safer? Is the onus solely and wholly on aggregators like Rapido?
So, Shreya, thank you for the question. I think the question of banning is completely out of the question, right? Women and everybody needs more options for travel, for moving around the city. Who is responsible? I think there are two elements we have to look at. One is prevention of sexual violence against women, and secondly is response to the sexual violence. Now, why I'm saying is that we shouldn't just do a knee-jerk reaction and say, let's ban it. Let's not just get women to get more scared, because what happens every time there's an incident, the onus falls on women to say, oh, now it's not safe. Don't go out. Don't do this. Don't do that. I think it's very important to put the onus back on society, whether it's the company, whether it's the police, whether it's the infrastructure that's there in the city, whether it's the amenities and services from mobility that is being offered by transport departments, by private companies and others. So I think first and foremost, let us not have knee-jerk reactions. Let us also understand that women, hundreds and thousands of women are taking these options every day. And while every single incident of violence or rape must be condemned, we also need to look at it in perspective and not just make it seem that all bike taxis are unsafe. And you're right, Shreya. A bike taxi, in a sense, would seem safer because you're actually in an open space. I mean, nobody's closed you in somewhere. And I think, therefore, the first thing is we must have immediate response. So the company has apologized. The company must look at their processes. Does this driver have any previous history of criminal activity? Number one, so we need to focus on the recruitment. Number two, what is the police procedure now? We need quick and just quick and timely justice at this point. So if there is timely justice, I think there will be confidence by women to move around. Like that young woman in Bangalore says, we need to move around. Women need to use public transport. Women need last mile connectivity. So let us not try and make this an issue that, these cities are unsafe and let's put women back in their homes. Let us be very clear that the responsibility lies with all the different stakeholders. Thank you.
Sunita Ojha, you're an advocate at the Supreme Court. I want to understand how these bike taxis are even plying on the roads. As I said, the solution is not to ban them, but how are they even plying on the roads? Because as far as I know, there are absolutely no commercial licenses given to two-wheelers. And if there are no commercial licenses given to two-wheelers, you cannot ply a bike taxi in that case.
Thank you, Shreya ji, for this taking up this issue. Number one, unfortunately, what happens in our country is the regulations always follow technology. So therefore, in a way, it looks like as if the government or the department is waiting for some incident to happen, then they will come into action. So road transport being a concurrent issue, both center as well as state can legislate. As a result, there is absolutely no clarity. Like you rightly said, that it is, they're illegal. Technically speaking, they are illegal. Where are the guidelines? Although they have been into operations for almost since at least 2015, even if we leave Goa aside, the case of Goa, because they have been using bike taxis much earlier than 2015. But since 2015-16, all these apps are providing bike taxis. So there is no clarity of regulations. As a result, we don't, and if you look at these apps, their terms of use policy, of course, neither the user is reading nor anybody is reading, but if you read them, you realize that the aggregator says, I am merely an aggregator. So you are riding at your own risk. So today Rapido apologizes that yes, we will, we'll cooperate, etc. But if you look at their app, what does it say? You are riding at your own risk. What we do, we are merely aggregating, we are merely facilitating. But they need to do more. And how does that more happens? It happens when there are absolutely clear regulations in place for whether it is for your general safety, like uniform, helmet for the pillion drivers, or for that matter, insurance issues. So those are for the general safety. And for women, what we need, because women are using this, especially women belonging to middle class, lower middle class, they find it convenient, they find it cost effective. And so therefore, their safety is, as a woman rider, when I'm booking a bike taxi on an app, I take it for granted that this is safe and secure. Little realizing that the aggregator is merely facilitating it. So for women, we need to have more women drivers. You need to have SOS. You need to have a very thorough background check. The app aggregators cannot get away by saying that we are merely aggregating and facilitating. There is a contract between you and the person.
Sure, that's a good point.
Yeah. So
That's a
according to
good
me,
point. But Raksha here is a regular user. Just a minute, Sunita ji. Raksha here is a regular user, and she tells me that there are some safety features.
Yep. Yes.
On the app. So
Yes.
is this an app problem? Is this a people problem? Or is it a generic problem where a lot, a lot that should have come to light has not come to light?
Absolutely, Shreya. So, if we talk about the app per se, there are several features, as Ma'am Moja was correctly pointing out, that technologically, the app should be sound. And this Rapido app, just like any other Uber motorbike or an, Ola bike app, has the SOS feature. It also, for safe, and that SOS panic button feature can connect you directly to the safety team of Rapido, where Rapido says that this safety team is available 24/7. Apart from that, also there's an option to add safety contacts, so you can add some trusted contacts to the app. Apart from that, also they even have an easy share button, which is to share your ride status. So as an app, Rapido has probably technologically made it very sound and safe for women. And as some other guests on the show were also saying, that this is not an app that has no use. There is obviously a big use. There was a gap it was filling, whether it is to cut through traffic, which was largely why I, Shreya, honestly would use it in Mumbai, because there's so much traffic, and if I've had a 12-hour long day and I want to go back earlier, I would choose a bike over an Uber cab. And I never felt uncomfortable. I never felt like because there is close proximity, right, with your motorbike rider, as opposed to a cab where you have your back seat. Here you're sitting in close proximity to a driver, but I have not felt uncomfortable. However, having said that, the fact that such a horrific incident has happened on a bike, given the fact we were, on a bike where there is proximity, yet the fact that this man could take her around, take her to his apartment, call a friend, this is not an app problem.
This is
it
a
sounds
people's
like a
problem, but this is
problem.
yeah, it is a people problem. But there is also a problem then with the company about not doing background checks.
Yeah.
That is a problem, and that is an issue that has cropped up in Uber and in Ola as well.
Absolutely.
Tanveer
May I
Pasha,
add
what
one
is the
more
problem?
point,
You are the
Shreya?
president of the Ola and Uber drivers. Go ahead.
I just want to add one more point. What have they done? Because like Raksha, I'm very thank you for throwing light on those features. But what does Rapido do to bring that kind of an awareness? Have they conducted a single awareness drive with women users or with general users to say that these are the features? Has the traffic police done something like that to make women, or as I said, not everybody is absolutely comfortable. It's so much more easier to book an app, to use it. But to be able to activate those features, you need some sort of an awareness drive. You see, so point is not just about providing it, but actually making
what is
it
the
available.
problem? Absolutely.
That's
that
true.
you can have a
However,
safety feature, that you can have that SOS button.
hidden somewhere in that interface,
Yeah.
and it's difficult
And is
for
it being
everybody
tracked?
to navigate.
If it's being tracked, how soon will the response be? There are a lot
Absolutely.
of questions. Are they, in turn going to...
Is it real time?
Is
Is
it
there
real
safety
time?
team?
Is that message going to go to the police, and how much time is the police going to respond? There is all of that as well. But Tanveer Pashati, as president of the Ola and Uber Drivers and Owners Association, what is the problem with companies and verifying the background of their drivers? It's basic, right? That you keep a house help, you will verify the credentials, you will do a police verification. You keep a driver, you will do the same for your driver. Where is the problem with companies like Rapido, like Ola, like Uber, to do a verification check of the driver, to do a background check of the driver? It's the easiest way to make your customer feel safe.
But they're looking to capture the market. They're not looking for a safety measure. They're not taking any safety measures, basically. And they're just running behind to the capturing the market. And we are talking about Rapido. Rapido is a totally illegal company. It is not permitted in state government of Karnataka and other states, I don't know. But in the state government of Karnataka, there is no provision for bike taxis. And we have already complained and protested many times. And we bring to the government also the issues which is going on, Rapido. And Rapido bikes are even misusing by the college and school students, even for the pocket money, they use their friend's bike or they take for two or three rides, and they collect some 200-300 rupees for their pocket money, and they go and they enjoy without having any knowledge of the parents. So many incidents are happening, and 90% of Rapido bikes don't have insurance, and it is a whiteboard vehicle. If any incident also happens, then there will be no claims for the even rider or the customer also. So it is
Can I come
totally
in here?
illegal. Government should not
Okay,
encourage such kind of companies. And whatever yesterday incident is happened, police department should file the FIR on the company CEO and directors. They will be alerted. See, even in India, for
But
every
I understand why
commercial
then
activity-
verification
I would
becomes a
like to
problem.
come in here.
You know, from what Tanveer Pasha, just a minute, from what Tanveer Pasha is saying, I understand where the problem with verifications is concerned. If I have a bike and Raksha borrows it and, you know, puts the Rapido app on, who does the police verify? Who does the company verify? I mean, if I'm verified and Raksha is driving, I mean, it's virtually like...
This is also something that happens with a lot of Uber and Ola cabs also, right? Where the
Yeah.
person who's
No,
calling you, the name
nowadays it
is
is
something
not
else,
happening.
his number is somebody else's.
No, sir, hota hai.
nowadays-
I don't know whether it is
I
happening in
think,
Bangalore or
I
not.
would
It
like to
certainly
add
happens
that
Happens in
sometimes in
Delhi,
Delhi.
NCR for sure.
I think it's not an
Kalpana
issue.
ji, I have exactly 20 seconds, but go ahead, make your point.
Yeah, I
Police,
think
these
it's not an
things
issue.
can be
Ola
stopped. If you
versus-
can stop people over wearing masks, why can't you enforce these the basic rules of safety?
And I think, Shreya, your first point,
That's
that this
true,
needs to come
absolutely
under
true.
the law. So once you have laws that govern this, then you can do all this. Now, if bike taxis completely are illegal, on what laws can you govern them? So I think it's very
Absolutely.
essential, like your first point, is let us accept it's needed. It's not about Uber versus
No.
this thing. I don't think the CEO
how
of the
can the
company needs to
government-
sit down.
how
I
can
think
the
it's an issue
government
of
and
having
transport
good
department allow
regulation.
Okay.
Good
Mr.
regulation.
Mr. Pasha, I'm out of time. But I agree with what Kalpana is saying, that banning is not a solution in this case. Yes, what has happened in Bangalore
No,
is
banning is
horrific.
not a solution.
Maybe I don't think anyone has a choice in the city. Everyone knows that if you need to use a Rapido, you need to use a Rapido going from one metro station to another metro station or from one metro station to your home. We understand there is a gap they are filling. But do they need to be regulated? Definitely they need to be regulated, and to be regulated, they need to be legalized. Is that the next step, is the question, which governments across the country will have to answer individually. The matter in any case is in many high courts. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Kalpana Vishwanath, for joining us on this broadcast. Sunita Ojha, good to have you. Tanveer Pasha, and thank you very much, Raksha, for joining us here in the studio. With that, it's a wrap from me on Urban Debate. Thanks for watching. Good night.